obviously it's been a well-told story about you and Teddy, and to be fair, it was never obvious in the changing room. Obviously,
Why?
It was never obvious. It was never obvious in the changing room.
I'm a nice guy. Come on, man.
Yeah, but it was never obvious in the changing room. But when I think back now, because obviously you were playing together at times, so you had to speak to each other on the pitch or give it. Never. But information over or.
Did it come from anything?
You love that one over, don't you? Instruction. Without using a Valencia.
Hang on a sec. Say it again, Coley.
I never spoke to Yorkie on the pitch.
It just happened?
No, I never spoke to Yorkie. I just look at Yorkie.
I know you were quiet, but...
Yeah, no, but, you know, when sometimes too much information on football pitch is too much.
So it'd alert the defender, you think?
So me and Yorkie played in silence.
Glance, looking at each other.
Yeah, we just look at each other.
I didn't.
So how do you know to over and stuff?
Positions.
Instinct.
I always knew where it was.
I had it with Tevez, where obviously, for different reasons, we didn't speak. So
he couldn't understand you.
More about... but by eye contact.
Yeah.
Coley, was there a particular moment where you and Teddy, you just bam, the friendship couldn't happen? Did something happen? Did you have a vexedness, an argument or something?
Obviously, it started like when I made my England debut, and he just, for whatever reason, he snubbed me. He didn't shake my hand on my debut.
Right.
And I was...
That was you done?
Yeah, I was mortified. I was disappointed.
Yeah.
I was disappointed. Yeah, of course.
You're not expecting that.
As far as I'm concerned, you're a senior pro. I remember I've always watched England play. When someone's making a debut, whoever comes up makes a massive beeline for that individual to say, hey...
Oh, so you coming on as a sub-Coley?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I thought, all right. Cheesed off naturally and just got my head down. When he joined Man United, I was like, all right, get on with it. I remember the first day of pre-season, the boys were like, couldn't stop laughing at me.
Why?
Because they knew...
That you...
Yeah.
He didn't hide being pissed off very well.
Everyone knows that. And then I come in, pre-season, playing a game. You know, when someone's like trying to coach you into positions, I'm like, yo, I've been at Man United a minute now, you know. I actually know what I'm doing. Yeah? And then that happened. I let him know, look, don't try and coach me into positions because I've been at Man United. I've actually got a dab on playing for his football club. And then we play, we do that. And then I remember the final show for me was at Bolton. We ended up drawing 1-1 at Old Trafford. And they scored a late goal and he said to me, that's your fault, that.
Wow.
And I remember saying to myself...
He was right.
Yeah.
No, was it?
No, I don't know. If I can blame someone else for a goal, I will, you know.
Voice like it was Gary.
I said to myself, OK, let's just get to the full time now. And like usually I'm one of the last off the pitch.
Right.
That day I was one of the first off the pitch, you know, so I've run down the tunnel and I wait for him to come in. And then we've had a little bit of a set to. I mean, I've just about caught my arm back and then...
Wow.
Peacemaker?
Peacemaker come in for about...
So you're just ready to...
Yeah.
Okay.
Peacemaker come in for about 30 seconds and then turn it on its head.
What did you say?
Was I trying to break it up?
You tried to break it up and then you got involved yourself.
Story of my life. Story of my life, Corley, yeah.
What happened? What do you mean you got involved? How did you get involved? Was you...
Yeah, trying to stop it, and then did I have a few words with Teddy or something?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
But do you know what's really important about all this stuff? And I go back to Coley with hang-ups with Teddy and whatever, and again, we always say there's two sides to every story. But the key is for all this stuff, this arguing, it never interfered.
No.
I don't think so. No. People might go, well, that's not good for the team.
That's the main thing.
But it never interfered with our targets as a team.
Never.
And that's trying to win the following weekend or the next game. I think people have to remember that.
You played for Sunderland. We should remind people that Newcastle fans are still watching. And also this, did you feel any sense of guilt when joining Manchester City as a United great?
It's a case of this one, you know. Ultimately, you're a professional footballer, so I used to sum it up like this. You might leave one company and go to another. Yeah, and it's the team that, or it's the company that people tell me, say, oh, you can't go to them because they're your competitor or whatever, maybe. But it's your job. Ultimately, it's your job. You want to try and do the best in your job you can do. So the decision for me was based around my kids. You know, it was based around my kids and getting back close to my kids and that. So, yeah, it was a good decision at the time.
But it's interesting that you've probably gone to, you know, obviously the Sunderland, Newcastle, the Manchester situation as well. but it still seems that you're loved by Manchester United fans. I'm sure you're still loved by Newcastle fans. Because interesting that is because sometimes that's a problem for players. If you go to the rival, why do you think that is? You're still thought of so well.
You know, I've always had a great rapport with fans. You know, Manchester United fans and the Newcastle fans. And I know, especially in Newcastle fans, some of them were disappointed in the way I left. But I always tried to explain it's totally out of my hands. You know, if a manager makes a decision he wants to sell you, you turn around and say to yourself, well, he doesn't want me anymore, so naturally you move on. So me going there and doing as well as they did, scoring the goals and that, I know now how much they appreciate me. I got inducted into the Hall of Fame back in the last season, and that was a special thing, you know, to appreciate that. They do actually turn around and say, yeah, we do love you here, you know, fair enough, you left, you went to Manchester United, but what you done for the football club was fantastic. Manchester United fans, I mean, I've always had a great rapport with them as well. I think when you go to a football club, you work hard, you work as hard as you can do. When things are not going bad, you work even harder. But to get the goals as well and to play in a good team, I've always classed myself as a team player. And you do those kind of things, you know. You always can get a great rapport with the fans. So I've been very fortunate in that way.
You're talking about Kevin Keegan and your respect for him. What about Sir Alex Ferguson? How important was he for Andy? Excuse me, for Andy Cole?
Yeah, the boss is top man. He's top man. He's a real good manager for me. I always say he was the only manager who actually understood me because, you know, sometimes you have managers try to figure you out and you have to say to yourself, why are you trying to figure me out? You know, let's just try to get the best out of me and let's play football. Whereby the boss was very, very good that way. You know, he could manage any era and he knew how to get the best out of each individual, which I found that's fantastic.
And is it a bit of a myth that, you know, from the outside of Alex Ferguson and the hairdrying and going after people and that, is it a bit of a myth? And is actually his relationship with players, that's the key to his actual success? Yeah,
because if you look at his success over the eras he's managed, you know, he's managed from the eras that we started up in when you could say whatever you want to say to play, you had to accept it, you get on with it. There was no, like, crying to anybody. You just had to get on with it. And then when the foreign boys started coming to the game, he managed those as well in a totally different way to the way he'd managed the English boys or the Scandi boys and that. So you look at things like that and you turn around and say to yourself, you know, that's what it's all about. Because football now is about managing people, you know, delegating. But you've got to manage people. You've got to be a people person now, I think, to be a good manager.
Do you think, in a way, Andy, that was what you lacked with England? What was it, 15 caps?
Yeah.
15 caps for the third highest goal scorer in Premier League history. Doesn't sound enough. Did you lack a manager that really believed in you?
Yeah, you could say that, yeah. Because ultimately, when you play for England, you know, you've got to have a manager who believes in you, believe that you're good enough to play at that level. Now, I always knew I was good enough to play at that level because I'm playing Champions League football every other week. Now, if you're playing Champions League football every other week, you're playing with Manchester United, you know you're good enough because, not being disrespectful, you're playing against some of the best defenders in the world in those tournaments because you're playing against the biggest clubs. You know, when you move on to the international level, you should be the same kind of thing. So it's about trust. You know, and I don't believe I had a manager who actually trusted me to believe that I could play at that level, which, like I said, whereby I already knew I could play at that level.
What was it like just being on the pitch as that happened? Like, what was going through your mind when you saw this all unfold?
For me personally...
Take us there.
I hadn't long joined from Newcastle, you know, so I'm only a few games into my Manchester United career then. And when it did happen, I wasn't even sure what was going on. I'm being brutally honest. I wasn't sure what was going on.
Was you near him? I'm trying to sort of picture it in terms of where you were in reference to Eric Cantona.
I was kind of like still in the
centre circle area.
Yeah, in the middle of the pitch. But like I said, I wasn't sure if the punter ran on and started on Eric or Eric did what he did. And when it all unfolded and everyone started running over to the touchline, I was kind of like miffed to what had gone on. And I didn't actually see the incident properly until I see it on TV.
Yeah.
And that's when I said to myself,
wow.
Yeah.
Well, he probably didn't say those words. Probably said something a bit stronger.
Exactly. But it was surreal. It was surreal.
What was he like? Okay, two questions. I've got so many questions in my head. Apologies. What was he like in the change room after? Like, was he steaming? Was he one of those people that you could go to or like leave him alone?
I'm not going to lie here. Eric is possibly one of the calmest people I've ever been in the dressing room with. I mean, he didn't really say a lot. You know, Eric had an unbelievable presence.
Yeah.
You know, didn't have to say too much.
Giant of a man as well. I think people forget that. What was he, 6'3", 6'2",
Yeah,
6'3"?
yeah, big barrel chest, and, you know what I mean, broad shoulders, and you know, and Eric didn't even say anything. He sat down in the dressing room, and that was it. And that was it. And naturally, I don't know what's going through his mind. Only Eric will ever know what was going through his mind. You know, but I remember when we all come in the dressing room after the game, and everyone's naturally shocked and whatever. And I think some of the boys are saying, the gaffer's got to lose it now.
That was the next question. Because you know, Sir Alex is obviously, look, we know the stories about him losing it and just literally that switch flipping. Did it flip?
Yeah.
Did he lose it on Eric or not?
No.
No?
That's this for me, and to this day, I still laugh to myself. Yeah, I remember the gaffer coming, and the gaffer was absolutely fuming. The game ended at 1-1. He was fuming. You know, we dropped a point, 2 points, and he's fuming that we didn't win the game. And he come in and started have a barney at a few people, and then he said to Eric, "What are you thinking?"
That's it.
Eric, you can't go around doing things like that. I mean, everyone in the dressing room sat there and said, nah.
Colin, you know what happens, right? When you're walking into the, you know, you've got a bad result, like one, or all your players are thinking, he ain't going to go for me. Eric's going to get it. He's done us a favour. Do you know what I mean? That he's going to get the rollicking. And then for Fergie to go, you shouldn't be doing that, Eric.
But the thing about it, with the gaffer, you knew straight away if he's in a bad mood. If he goes in half time, and he gets down the tunnel really quick, so he gets out his seat, walks down the tunnel really fast. Yeah, you know, oh, here we go. Someone's getting it. Yeah?
So you knew that?
Yeah,
like
you always know.
You guys are walking off slow. He's running down. You know someone's in trouble.
Everyone always knows, when the gaffer's going to lose it.
And you normally know who it's going to be.
Yeah.
You know it's going to be.
But sometimes, the gaffer be like, he used to be like this. He'll get in the dressing room and, for instance, someone gave away a pass a couple of minutes into the first 45 minutes or to the end of the game. He'll come in and absolutely unleash on whoever it was. Yeah? And then whoever he's actually intended to go for, think, I'm off the hook.
Thank God.
I'm off the hook. And then all of a sudden, he will volley you.
And you?
Yeah, from nowhere. And then you're getting, you turn around and say to yourself, gaffer, but that was such and such. Said, I don't care, blah, blah, blah. And you turn around and say, he never forgot anything. And I mean, he never, ever forgot anything. He'll get there in the end, but it might take a little bit of time before he got there.
Did Eric, because me growing up as a kid, I always looked at Eric as the coolest footballer in the world, right? He used to roll up his sleeves, even the collar. He used to put the collar up, and I used to think, oh my God, Eric's so cool. Did you ever know that was in him, though, that trigger to just lose it like that was there?
I think, as the saying always says, the quiet ones.
Yeah, that's what they say, don't they?
And Eric was definitely one of them. I think for me personally, and a lot of the boys who come through, just to watch him, just to watch the way he trained, the way he played, we always used to take something from him. But to see something like that, he was the first professional footballer to actually lose it with a punter. Yeah, and to say, let's just have a tear up.
And to be fair, we don't I was talking to Perry Groves about this off air. I think Eric Dyer is probably the only other one that I can remember going in. I can't think of anything else.
Exactly. If I sit here now and obviously think about my career when I was younger, so being at Arsenal when I was a kid, obviously there was Alan Smith there, there's Paul Merson, younger, obviously Wright, he came later on, it was Kevin Campbell, then I moved, I went to Newcastle, I played with Peter Beardsley.
What a player.
I mean, exactly, with great experience that I'm learning off. I mean, when I played with Peter at Newcastle, and he said to me one day we played, he said, Coley, just stand still. I'm like, what are you on about, just stand still? Because when you're young, everyone tells you, keep moving, got to be on the move. Peter said to me, Coley, just stand still, you get loads of space. I'm like, Peter, man, what are you talking about? Just do it. Stood there in the space I was getting, but I'd never been told that before. So straight away, I'm getting experienced by an individual saying to me, just stand still.
How old was you then?
So I was then, I went to Newcastle when I was 22-ish, didn't I?
Imagine finding out something that's such a big thing in the game at 22. That's nuts, isn't it, really?
I mean, 22, 23. So I did that. And then I moved to Manchester United. I'm playing with Sparky. I'm playing with Eric.
Some players, man.
So exactly. So if I can't learn off those guys to get myself in a position to move myself forward, I'm really shouldn't be at that level. So when we talk about the boys that are playing now, I do feel it for them because ultimately when you're at such a big club, you want to be able to learn off someone who's been there before. I mean, you want to draw off their experience. You know, I remember when I was a kid, I was always tapping into the senior pros, like, oh, yeah, what can I try and do here? What can I try and do there?
Would you do that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because like when I was at Arsenal, that a lot of them used to like pull me and sit me down and say, "Oh, Coley, X, Y, Z about training or whatever." I started to say, yeah, but what about blah 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 or whatever it may be. So I was always trying to tap into their head to see what it takes to get to that level. Yeah, there's always going to be ups and downs, but if you can try and tap into their heads, especially if they want to give you their time as well, you know, for me, I think that's massive.